Software engineers, here's 5 ways to deal with bad interviewers in 4 minutes. And these 5 particular tips will go under 2 umbrellas. The first umbrella is trust them. And the second umbrella is ignore them. So you want to trust them and ignore them strategically in certain ways. So bear with me. So what does trust them look like? The first thing you can do here is assume positive intent. And the reason that you want to assume positive intent is 3 reasons. First of all, you will be right more often because most interviewers are not bad. Bad interviewers are something like 5 to 20% of interviewers. So you'll be statistically correct by assuming they're probably not bad. The second thing is, even looking at the group of bad interviewers, they could be bad for different reasons. In the majority of times, it's incompetence, not malice. So by assuming positive intent, you're going to be right even within the bad interviewer block. You'll be right to assume that they're probably incompetent, not malicious, not trying to make you do poorly. They may be undertrained, they may be new, they may be overwhelmed on their job. Hello, they're hiring, and then having to go interview. They may be overwhelmed by a deluge of applicants that don't even pass the smell test, that don't even have the bare minimum. So by assuming positive intent, you're right more often. And then the third thing is that you actually stack the odds in your favor, leveraging unconscious bias. So bias is real, unconscious bias is real, but unconscious bias can work in your favor if you approach the situation strategically. So by assuming positive intent, showing respect, even being positive and smiling and using words that contain positive sentiment, I communicate to the other person that I'm nice and respectful, and humans have a natural reciprocity effect so that they will treat you with respect and be nicer to you as a subconscious, unconscious matter of reciprocity. And you'll stack the odds in your favor. So even if they are bad or incompetent, you can still do a much better job. So they'll endow you with a halo effect and they'll think you're better than you really are just because you're using this positive sentiment and assuming positive intent. The second particular technique under the umbrella of trusting them is not trusting this person, which we've already discussed, but trusting this company. So even if you have a bad round, you're going to go through multiple rounds in a job search, in a job pipeline with a particular company. Please don't say, I had this bad experience, they're probably all bad. Avoid that. Treat every interviewer as an individual, hit the reset button, and give them another chance. And so this will work in your favor because you're adding the halo effects across these individuals. And it will work for another reason, which is they'll go back and have a calibration meeting and share notes about you. And very often, the secret is, as someone who's been in a bunch of meetings, very often on the meeting side, they know which of themselves is the weaker interviewer, and they will rationally underweight the opinion of that interviewer. So particularly if you're applying at a prestigious company, even if you don't trust the person, maybe you can trust the process or the company or the group of them and treat them as individuals and treat them positively, respectfully, kindly as individuals. That'll be another way to stack the odds in your favor. The third thing you can do with a bad interviewer is get an offer from them. So this has happened to me before where I had a bad experience and I still got an offer. How? Well, I just gave you a couple ways. One, they may be bad, but I treated them nicely anyway and they thought highly of me. And secondly, they may be bad, but I convinced the group, the quorum, the calibration meeting attendees as a whole that I was pretty good and they got outvoted. The fourth thing that you can do, and now we're leaving the idea of trusting them. The fourth thing that you can do is now we're in the umbrella of ignoring them selectively. The fourth thing that you can do is you can learn something for yourself anyway. So let's take a step back from the particular company that you're interviewing with and look at the job search. The best candidates at the best companies, Google, Meta, and so on, would pass their own rounds only about half the time. So there's no guarantee that you're going to get any particular offer for any particular job post to which you applied. So there's that instability at the level of the job. But with a properly crafted job search strategy, you can practically guarantee that you will get a job over the course of your job search, despite the uncertainty for any particular interview. And one of the ways that you can do this is that you can learn from particular interviews and upskill your interviewing skill as you go. And so the number and frequency of bad interviewers is relatively constant between 5 and 20%. So that's a flat line on your job search. But you have your job search skill, which is going up. So at some point you will be over bar, even assuming the numbers game with these bad interviewers. As long as you are taking away and learning one thing you could have done better. So don't think about them. Even holding the bad interviewers constant, reflect on one thing you could have done better in each interview. And the last tip is, again, playing the numbers game. While these people exist, they are a general minority. So just don't try to please everyone. Just move on. Don't spend a bunch of your time contemplating this bad person and how you could have changed their mind. Instead, stick with the industry best practices and play the numbers game. And this will be a job search strategy that eventually leads you to get an offer, even if you can't please everyone. And in fact, it will probably be a company with a lower frequency of these bad interviewers, which is probably going to be a better company anyway. Hope this helped. Follow for more.